and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran, and today's session is the big UC update for Smarsh. I am delighted to be joined by Blane Warrene, VP of Product Management at Smarsh. Blane, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kieran. Glad to be here.
Before we dive into what Smarsh has in store for customers next year, can you please tell us a bit about yourself, Blane, and the work you do with Smarsh?
Certainly. And again, it's great to be back. I come from the financial services industry and roughly about 15 years ago shifted gears from being a buyer of services for compliance and risk to working on building services around products and risk for financial services firms. And that's been a very fun journey to get to where we are. I joined Smarsh at the end of 2016. And we've been very busily investing in how the world has changed. Obviously, the pandemic had a great impact on that and the challenges that firms face in enabling communications and meeting the risk factors of using those communications. So super thrilled to be focused on that and happy to talk about what we've done and what we're doing next.
Perfect. And speaking of what you guys have done, how do you reflect on Smarsh's 2023? What were some of your guys' highlights from the year?
Well, it was an interesting year, I think, regardless of how you work and in what industry you work in. It almost felt like a hangover from just such an intense March from 2022 to get to 2023 and all the change we went through. So that kind of fatigue, but also the ability to take a breath and start to think about, what are our organizations doing next? And for us, there were kind of three things that really cemented themselves in 2023. One is we started an investment years ago in having a cloud native, multi-region global platform. So what used to be just data center by data center and server by server, we had a multi-year investment that abstracted that, in essence, to be truly cloud native, so that our customers could say, we're in these three regions. We need to deploy our compliance solutions specific to those regions. And 2023 was the year where that felt natural. So that's a great signal in your progress to maturing a technology. The other was the continued convergence of what I spend my days on, which is acquiring or capturing data for customers and bringing it onto the platform. And the opposite end of the work stream, the surveillance and the activities you do with the data, those used to be two work streams that were very far apart, truly discrete teams. And now it's very organized together. There's an enormous amount of collaboration that goes to what are we capturing and immediately taking advantage of to provide value to customers. That also felt natural in 2023, which is very exciting. And last but not least, really the complexity of mobile as we emerged from the pandemic was a big focus in 2023. And, two examples would be the fact that voice was not just traditional voice, but voice from Zoom, voice from Microsoft, voice from other mobile providers needed to be captured. And so there was a lot of motion for us in 2023 on focusing on that voice area.
Perfect. And looking ahead, what is Smarsh's product roadmap looking like for 2024? And what kind of features and benefits can customers and partners expect?
So it is refreshing. Change has changed. So just as much as the pandemic was very difficult to change, return to office is very difficult, and it's a lot of change for organizations. I can only speak personally to say that there is some refreshing sensation from getting that routine back and being able to sit and meet with customers in person and spend time with them and their employees and how they use tools to help us build products better. There's really two shifts that we see in 2024 that frame in our investments, which I'll mention some specific investments. But it's really at this point the nearly full convergence of mobile, meaning when you or I are in the office, we have our work equipment on our desk. And when we leave the office now in 2023 and in 2024, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet, we nearly have the entire office capabilities on that device as we walk out the door and can continue to do our job and engage with clients and partners. That's both absolutely empowering for organizations, but it also creates an enormous amount of volume and complexity and noise for risk and compliance. And so I think customers are demanding. We have to be able to stay astride of the volume and the pace of technology. And we have to be able to find signals in the noise, which is sort of an old phrase that now suddenly is very relevant again when we think about the volumes of data. So to be specific, rather than being esoteric, there's some things that are very visible to the market, things like Microsoft Copilot, customer-facing bots, and AI-driven bot communications that sort of abstractly go from employee to customer, but we can now go machine to customer or machine to employee. And there needs to be an understanding of how to do those things. So that's a significant investment for us. So when we think across unified communications tools, be it Microsoft, Salesforce, Zoom, and others, the AI impact of what's enabled for their users, we're building the opposite end of the spectrum, which is how do we provide a compliance fabric for that? We're certainly widening our mobile footprint. We've made investments that come to fruition in Q1 that add a number of network operators around the world and a number of mobile voice capabilities around the world, which is critical to our customers. A third one is a continuation, which is the fact that for more than a decade, nearly 2 decades, lexicons have been the way, words and phrases, and applying those against large volumes of data to try to create a subset to view. The volume is overpowering the ability to use those lexicons. And so we, for years, have been using ML models to assess that data, but it's coming to a head, as I mentioned in the prequel to this, which is the sheer volume, the billions of messages we're putting into the platform demand a significant reduction in the amount of review needed. And a great example is change of venue. So now that we have organizations that have Teams voice, perhaps text, WhatsApp enabled, so there's this wide spectrum of communications an employee can use, that change of venue, for example, has to continue to be highly refined and continue to evolve based on the data, the training that happens to make it more rich. So that's a super important thing. What I like to look at when I think about this is compliance without compromise. So there's so many things that customers have to disable to turn on technologies, for example, for monitored or regulated users. And we want to keep shrinking the list of things that customers need to disable. And that's an example. When that change of venue works very smoothly, then they have a very clear-eyed view of how people are talking about business with clients and partners, and they can make smart decisions about how to supervise that business. And then a parting thought is the utility of the data traditionally, if we look back, has been about compliance. In a frame with guardrails, we need to meet these rules and regulations. And now the utility of that data has gotten very rich. The way risk is reviewed has broadened. And there's a number of constituents coming to the table around organizations, human resources, InfoSec, even marketing, saying, hold on, I want to put my hand up here. We want to understand and look at that data for our use case, the non-compliance use case, and see if we can build a better division product relationship with clients. And that what that really does is allow them to get this data once onto the platform and get a lot of value out of it for different needs. And to wrap a bow on it, something that all of us strive for when we think about the compliance use case, but we're starting to see come together that absolute richness of the integrated view of an employee. When I say Kieran or Blane, we can look across every modality of the way that we work for our business and understand how it's being said, how it's different on different channels, and how we can either better enable or train that employee or prevent risk to our clients and partners. So that you can see there's a theme that's very focused on the fact that as so much technology got adopted, now the supervision or surveillance, the validation of the use of that technology is just essential.
No, 100%. Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like it's almost not necessarily lost. That's probably harsh, but like yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on that user adoption and user training is as critical as the technology itself for the streamlining workflows, for cutting costs and everything. I think that's spot on. So yeah, very exciting time for Smarsh customers. I think that's all we've got time for today, but it's been a really good session. So thank you, Blaine, for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kieran. I appreciate it.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.